Good evening, I'm Ian Hanomansing. Tonight, Canada cracks down on trips abroad.
What we're trying very hard to do here is eliminate all discretionary, non-essential travel.
What awaits your return if you vacation outside Canada?
We know that vaccine supply chains are unpredictable.
The impacts on provincial vaccine rollouts after another interruption in supply.
We're planning for bringing Team Canada to the Tokyo Games without vaccines.
Trying to make the Summer Olympics safe for athletes. And expensive backyard toys built by Canadians.
It's turned into people are willing to spend a few $100,000 on a playhouse.
They're planned for something more affordable. This is The National. Just as Canada appears to be making progress against COVID-19, there are new concerns. Nationally, case numbers are falling, so are hospitalizations, but the signal from policymakers is that we may be running out of time. Canada needs more vaccine, but there's a fresh delay in shipments. While immunization slows, officials fear virus variants at home are picking up speed. And as the danger from variants may be growing from abroad, curbing non-essential travel is a new priority. David Cochran shows us Ottawa is making it even harder.
For weeks, he's been warning Canadians not to travel because the rules could change with little notice. Turns out he wasn't bluffing.
In the coming weeks, we will be introducing mandatory PCR testing at the airport for people returning to Canada.
A mandatory test on arrival in addition to the pre-departure test required to fly home, followed by new quarantine measures that carry a big price tag.
Travelers will then have to wait for up to 3 days at an approved hotel for their test results at their own expense, which is expected to be more than $2,000.
It's a COVID all-inclusive, a bundle of inconvenience and deterrence stacked on top of existing restrictions, designed to keep people home in the cold Canadian winter.
What we're trying very hard to do here is eliminate all discretionary, non-essential travel.
So starting next week, all international flights, including those from the U.S., can only land at 4 airports: Vancouver, Calgary, Toronto, and Montreal, which funnels travelers into major centers for the new testing and quarantine measures. There's also a warning that Canadians coming home by land will eventually face more restrictions, including a negative test to cross the border.
We urge you to cancel any plans to leave Canada in the near future, including for spring break.
It goes beyond urging. Air Canada, WestJet, Sunwing, Air Transat have all agreed to cancel flights to Mexico and the Caribbean from Sunday to April 30th, limiting vacations as COVID variants spread.
I think that this could actually be quite effective at keeping out much more of the new variants. And if we keep out many cases of the variants, then we will do way better in the long run.
So, David, if flight cancellations to the Caribbean and Mexico start on Sunday, how do people already there get home?
Yeah, we have a statement from all of the airlines assuring us, Ian, that they're working on this. They're reaching out to the people affected by this. They're working on plans to get them home. And what it looks like broadly is a flurry of activity and a bunch of flights over the next few weeks as airlines rebook everyone and set up one-off, one-way flights to try to get people back to Canada.
All right, David Cochran, thank you.
You got it, thanks.
There's already pushback against those new measures from workers in the aviation industry. Amid concern about grounded planes and layoffs, the union representing Air Transat flight attendants says it deplores the lack of vision from the Trudeau government and says it's been waiting for a federal recovery program since last March. The union says at this rate, within 2 weeks, all of Air Transat's flight attendants will be out of a job. Ontario isn't waiting for Ottawa's travel measures to kick in. The province announcing several moves today. Ellen Morrow shows us the race to head off a virus variant before it dominates Ontario's caseload.
Behind these walls, no end to the nightmare. More than 50 residents now dead at Roberta Place, a devastating outbreak fueled by a variant.
She doesn't look great, and she's definitely not 100%.
Jeremy Taggart's mother, Burl, tested positive, as has almost every other resident and dozens in the nearby community.
It spread through the whole building. It's a 100% failure.
The specter of more contagious variants spurring new action today from an obviously concerned Ontario Premier.
If these new strains take hold, the consequences will be dire.
The province launching a 6-point plan, including mandatory testing of international arrivals at Pearson starting Monday, screening more positive tests to determine how widespread the variants already are, and deploying more rapid testing kits to high-priority settings like schools. The variant first detected in the UK is expected to be the dominant strain of the virus in Ontario by the end of March. Early evidence says it's more difficult to control and perhaps more deadly. So even as cases are going down now,
it's a race for time, race against time to get people vaccinated.
Following criticism, Ontario has sped up its long-term care vaccination schedule, now aiming to get all residents their first shots by this time next week.
You're introducing something that's essentially turning up the volume.
Dr. Nathan Stahl says that means basic public health measures and a proactive approach from the province are critically important.
It probably has motivated us to do some of the things we should have been doing all along that would have avoided us getting in this mess in the first place.
The variants set to worsen an already bleak projection that this second wave in long-term care will be deadlier than the first. Ellen Morrow, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, joining us now for more on this is Dr. Susie Hoda, an infectious disease specialist in Toronto. Dr. Hoda, there's a lot of concern, as you know, about the variant. So we see all these new measures that have been put in place around travel today. Will testing arrivals at Pearson Airport make a difference, or is this more symbolic?
It might make a little bit of a difference in that we'll pick up some small proportion of people who would test positive and not realize that they're infected because they don't have symptoms. However, it doesn't stop the fact that people might still come in, test negative, and be incubating the virus and then go on to be positive and infect others after that. So really, the most important things that we need to be thinking about here are, again, really discouraging travel right now. It's not the time to be doing it. And secondly, ensuring that those who have to come in for travel related reasons are under quarantine for the full 14 days. And during that time, if they develop any symptoms, they need to declare that, first of all, right away and get tested again immediately.
Yeah, and so just to quickly underscore that in a few sentences, if people actually are traveling for whatever reason and do truly follow the 14-day quarantine, wouldn't that go a long way to reducing the risk of them transmitting it to the wider community?
Absolutely. That's the actual action, right? Testing is a tool that helps us to direct what we need to do. The action here that's really important is the quarantine piece.
All right, Dr. Hoda, we'll talk to you a little bit later on in the hour. Tighter travel restrictions began in Manitoba today as officials try to keep those COVID-19 variants out.
We're in a pandemic. This isn't a time for non-essential travel. Right now, we need to focus on keeping these numbers down, preventing the importation of the virus and certainly the variants of concern, and then we can start focusing on getting things started again.
Manitoba reported 157 new cases today, with more than half coming from the Northern Health Region. The new rules require anyone entering the province for non-essential reasons to isolate for 2 weeks.
We can gradually relax public health restrictions, but this must be done carefully, slowly, and in a way that is driven not by opinions, but by data.
Alberta announced it will loosen some of its restrictions on a day the province saw 543 new cases. Starting on February the 8th, the province will allow in-person dining at restaurants, and gyms will be able to reopen, both with limited capacity. Another setback today for Canada's vaccine plans. Next month, shipments that were expected of the Moderna vaccine are being cut by 20 to 25%. For next week alone, that means 50,000 fewer doses.
This temporary delay doesn't change the fact that we will still receive 2 million doses of the Moderna vaccine as planned before the end of March, as we've been saying for months.
Other countries face similar rationing as Moderna attends to a problem with its manufacturing process. Greg Rasmussen shows us why that's little comfort to the provinces.
Do you want me to warn you or just poke you without telling you?
In Manitoba, a rare bit of good news on the vaccination front as the last of those living in long-term care received their first shot. The bad news, a reduction in doses coming from Moderna in the weeks ahead.
It's obviously very disappointing, but this is what we're ready for. We know that vaccine supply chains are unpredictable.
Moderna says it will fall short by up to 120,000 doses by the end of February. Pfizer had already reduced deliveries, with both companies blaming delays at their production facilities.
It is concerning.
Ontario's premier is urging Ottawa to speed up its approval of other vaccines to help fill the gap.
I am asking and I'm pleading and begging Health Canada, please get AstraZeneca approved.
In Alberta, the government says 6,000 healthcare workers and seniors will be getting the shot later than expected.
The news from Ottawa is going from bad to worse. The reality is our plans depend on the supply that we receive from the federal government, and the numbers are changing every day.
In BC, available supplies will continue to target those most vulnerable.
We are working with what we have available to best address those most at risk and those hotspots and outbreaks that are happening in communities.
Also vaccinate as many people as you can.
The failure to deliver as promised is raising serious questions about the companies involved.
I don't know if we can trust what they say. We will send in 1 month or 3 weeks, and we don't know. Definitely we need more vaccines from different suppliers.
There's not a lot of people that like needles.
One thing being watched closely, these delays could further lengthen the time between the first and second vaccinations. Experts say they're learning more every day about the impact of delaying that follow-up shot. Greg Rasmussen, CBC News, Vancouver.
With the current supply lines looking shaky, we thought you'd want to know about the next vaccines coming down the pipe for approval in Canada. Christine Birak shows us why they may be better at dealing with those variants of COVID-19.
At 66%, its efficacy isn't as eye-popping as its rivals, but Johnson & Johnson's vaccine requires just 1 shot. It's easy to ship and stores in a regular fridge.
There's no question that this vaccine is going to be a game changer.
In a press release, the company says its vaccine did keep people out of hospital, noting the shot was 85% effective overall in preventing severe disease. And that number held up across geographies, ages, and multiple virus variants, including one identified in South Africa.
So they have a good sense of the real-world efficacy of this vaccine, and it certainly looks very promising for a single dose.
Some doctors point out Pfizer and Moderna's vaccine trials were done earlier in the pandemic and before variant strains of the virus had even emerged.
You test those vaccines now, for example, in South Africa or Brazil or other areas that have these resistant variants, you might well find that they're actually down around 65% as well. At this stage, we just don't know.
Another vaccine approaching the finish line is Novavax. The company announced its 2-shot vaccine showed an overall efficacy of just over 89% in the UK, even with the variant. But in South Africa, that variant pulled the efficacy down around 50%.
It's going to be like the flu for a short while, that we might need to get new vaccinations with the variants that are circulating.
Canada's top doctor says initial approvals for Novavax or Johnson & Johnson's vaccine will take time.
Like all vaccines, we have to actually get that data reviewed.
As tensions grow over vaccine shortages, today the European Union approved Oxford AstraZeneca's vaccine. Health Canada says it's currently completing its data review and expects to make a decision on AstraZeneca in the coming days. Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
Another blow today for an iconic Canadian retailer. Hudsons Bay is permanently laying off more than 600 workers across the country amid ongoing COVID restrictions. A spokesperson for the company says lockdowns have kept nearly half of its department stores closed. The layoffs represent less than 5% of the company's total workforce. It's been another wild day in the battle between a group of amateur investors and hedge fund managers. Video game retailer GameStop's stock rose 70% as some platforms halted trading. Shares of GameStop skyrocketed this week after online traders banded together to boost the company. That's a move that cost short sellers betting against GameStop billions. Today, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission said it was closely monitoring the extreme price volatility. 2 Canada Post workers in Saskatchewan are speaking out about a temporary suspension from work. It's all over their refusal to deliver copies of the Epoch Times. Katie Nicholson looks into it.
Ramiro Sepulveda normally delivers everything he's supposed to, but not this time.
I went straight to a supervisor. I said, that Epoch Times, I'm not delivering it. It goes against everything I believe in.
Sepulveda and a co-worker objected to the paper in part because of its past insinuations about the origins of the coronavirus, which it calls the Chinese Communist Party virus.
I'm not for censorship. I'm not against freedom of speech. What my thing is there is no disclaimer stating that this was theory.
Sepulveda and his co-worker were temporarily suspended for refusing to deliver the sample edition of the paper. Canada Post says it is obligated to deliver any mail that is properly prepared and paid for, but if material is deemed illegal, obscene, or fraudulent, it could be considered non-mailable matter. Last spring, some postal workers in Toronto objected to delivering a different sample edition of the paper. A review found it didn't meet the criteria of non-mailable matter. This Mississauga resident was so upset when the paper arrived in her mail, she wrote her MP.
I think it's important for politicians to really take a look at this and just say, is this what we want a Crown Corporation to be delivering?
Others think banning the mail out goes too far.
I think it's kind of immature or nanny state-ish, like that they wanted to be protected.
For its part, the Epoch Times says, we believe readers are wise enough to judge for themselves whether we are reporting truthfully, and that if Canada Post were to block us, that would be the government censoring an independent media outlet. The minister responsible for Canada Post is looking into the matter. In the meantime, Canada Post is telling those who complain if they don't want to receive it, all they have to do is opt out of ad mail altogether. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
Meng Wanzhou has lost her bid to have her bail conditions loosened while she awaits a ruling on extradition to the United States. The Huawei executive applied to go outside beyond her curfew and without security. A judge said the current restrictions are the minimum required to ensure she doesn't flee the country. We're in the middle of a deadly spike of gang violence in the Vancouver area, 6 shootings in less than 2 months, and among the victims, a 14-year-old boy. The CBC's Briar Stewart looks at what's happening and how one former gang member is trying to help.
It was another early morning murder investigation right in the middle of a residential neighborhood. Security video taken by a neighbor showed a truck drive through Tuesday night. Then moments later, this.
This has all the hallmarks of a targeted hit.
It was the 6th murder since Christmas that police believe has been connected to gang violence.
This shouldn't be going on. You know, there's lots of families that live in that building behind there, you know. It's amazing something else didn't happen, right?
Police say all of the victims were known to them, including Dekel Willis, just 14 years old, gunned down while getting out of a cab.
It's absolutely disturbing.
Detective Cal Dusange works in financial crimes now, but spent years investigating gangs. He believes part of what's fueling the current surge of violence is the murder of a high-profile gang member back on January 6th.
There will always be power vacuums and imbalances with respect to a lot of these gangs that are fighting each other for territory and for power. At the end of the day, the entire game is about money. And so they get drawn into this lifestyle.
Which is why Dusange launched a foundation to help keep kids out of gangs. One of the volunteers, Shane Knox.
It's my turn to give back as I created so much chaos.
That's him when he was part of the United Nations gang, a notorious group that trades in drugs and guns. He was drawn in because he was looking to belong.
The only solution really, just give these gangsters, throw the books at them, show up to their families and stuff like that. And, you know, their family would have more of an influence and to be able to talk to them.
Knox, who went to jail for trafficking, said it was only after he was released that he was able to make a clean break from that lifestyle. A decade on, he works in the trades and has found a new purpose with a new family. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Vancouver.
Today marks 4 years since an armed man murdered Muslim men as they concluded their evening prayers. Yesterday, the government made January 29th a national day of remembrance of the Quebec City mosque attack and action against Islamophobia. This commemoration by the Quebec City Islamic Cultural Centre was live streamed a few hours ago. Some of those taking part were in that crowd of 40 worshippers targeted by the shooter. Earlier, a memorial service was held for the 6 men he murdered.
We will always remember that this wasn't a random act of violence, that this was an act of targeted terrorist violence against 6 Muslim men. The community will live with that for the rest of their lives.
A campaign is urging people to make green squares that represent the carpet the men stood on. They're to be worn in solidarity with all victims, including the 6 widows and 17 children left fatherless. CBC Television has canceled the 2nd season of the series Trickster. This comes a month after the show's director resigned when her claims of Indigenous identity were called into question. Eli Glasner has that story.
Tell me about the night I was born.
When it arrived, Trickster was celebrated, a series about Indigenous lives told by Indigenous creators.
Indigenous people, like behind the scenes.
Then the questions around director and producer Michelle Latimer surfaced. CBC News has reported that Latimer's Algonquin and Métis heritage have fallen under scrutiny. Members of the Quebec Indigenous community she says she hails from questioned her connections. While Latimer contends she has Indigenous roots stretching back centuries, she did apologize for naming a connection with the community before she had done the work to understand the connection. Today, CBC announced in a statement that fully respecting everyone's perspective, Season 2 will not move forward. CBC News asked CBC management who initiated the decision and if all parties agreed. They declined to comment. Latimer says she was not involved in the decision that was announced today and is sad to hear that Season 2 has been cancelled. She's also served CBC News with a notice of libel regarding what she says are grave concerns about the fairness and accuracy of its reporting. CBC says it's reviewing the notice. Eden Robinson, who wrote the novel the show is based on, says, "I'm deeply grateful that CBC and Sienna, the production company, respect this situation. As news spread online, fans from Canada and the U.S. and filmmakers shared their frustration. This Mi'kmaq director calls the decision a tragedy."
I can't imagine how the people who have and trusted her and put their faith in her as a filmmaker and as an artist, only to have this just basically happen to them.
Producer Jennifer Podemsky says the resulting scandal hurts Indigenous storytellers.
All of the, dramatic revelations surrounding it will make it more difficult for all of us who are content creators, pitching shows and pitching series.
What are you? I was going to tell you when the time was right. A trickster.
However, she says she and her fellow Indigenous creators are already developing shows at networks to capitalize on the audience Trickster established. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Toronto.
As countries try to quell the spread of COVID-19, nearly 500 million children are going without an education, and the impact could be lasting.
We are at risk of a generational catastrophe.
An education crisis that could widen inequity. Plus, the head of the Canadian Olympic Committee on his hopes for the Tokyo Games.
If they can be staged safely, we'll attend.
And an Alberta couple turns fairy tales into reality, but it'll cost you.
People are willing to spend a few $100,000 on a playhouse.
We're back in 2. Europe is tightening controls on COVID vaccines produced there, including what gets shipped to other countries. It's not clear whether that will have an impact on Canada. But as Renee Filipponi tells us, it comes amid serious criticism that the EU is lagging behind in supply and vaccination.
Rolling through the French countryside, vaccines are coming to the elderly. This man says he tried to book an appointment in town, but they were out of vaccines. Shortages are a big issue here and across the continent. The president of the Grand Reims metropolitan area says they have the ability to vaccinate 1,000 people a day, but are getting just 1,200 vaccines a week. The German government is preparing for 10 weeks of shortages, and many other countries are scaling back their rollout plans. The frustration has led to a fight with UK's Swedish drug maker AstraZeneca. The company says it can't fulfill its EU order right now because of manufacturing problems. The EU sent investigators into the Belgian plant and even published the contract with the drug company to show they had a binding order. Today, the EU announced it will not only track the export of vaccines produced in Europe, but put controls on them too.
The aim is to provide us immediately with full transparency. Transparency that until now has been lacking.
The EU had not been prepared institutionally.
This economist says the blame lies with Europe, and that while the UK and US signed major contracts early, it waited.
Some countries in Europe didn't want to take the risk and didn't understand that not taking the risk would even be riskier because it prolongs the pandemic and increases the deaths in Europe.
At a hospital in Madrid, the remaining vaccine doses are given to staff in need of a second shot. The shortage is so serious here, they have stopped vaccinating new people. No one is getting a first dose. It's a major blow, says the doctor in charge, who says many of the staff are now left at the mercy of the pandemic. Unsure when the vaccines will bring any relief. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, London.
As questions loom about the Tokyo Games, I speak with the head of the Canadian Olympic Committee.
The health and safety of all participants is paramount.
His thoughts on vaccinating athletes and safety protocols, plus.
This is the machine that court reporters use in a courtroom to type out everything that is said in the courtroom.
An Edmonton student reveals the wizardry behind stenography. For almost a year, athletes have put their Olympic dreams on hold because of the global pandemic. They've had to adapt and find new ways to train.
This is how I'm training for Tokyo in quarantine.
Hoping the 2021 Olympics will take place. But now, with less than 6 months to go, uncertainty is growing. There have been rumors the Games will be canceled as global cases surge and new variants raise concerns. It's left some wondering whether vaccines can save the Games if athletes jump the line.
I don't think it's a realistic scenario to have an Olympics without a vaccine.
This week, the IOC repeated there is no plan B.
We are not speculating of whether the Games are taking place. We are working on how the Games will take place.
Some of those answers are set to be unveiled next week, but for a look at how it might affect Canadian athletes, I spoke with David Shoemaker, the CEO of the Canadian Olympic Committee, earlier today. David Shoemaker, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Ian. It's a pleasure to be here.
I know the plan as of today is for the Tokyo Games to go ahead this summer and for Canada to take part. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how certain are you that that's going to happen?
Ian, I don't have a crystal ball, so I certainly can't express certainty around it. But we're very optimistic at this point, and certainly all of our plans at the Canadian Olympic Committee are toward a successful Games going ahead in July of 2021.
Things can really change quickly when it comes to COVID, though. I think back to late November, we hadn't at that point even heard of this variant first detected in the UK. Now it's a great concern. Do things like that uncertainty worry you?
Well, that's right. The uncertainty creates a need and a demand for us to be nimble in our plans. And the uncertainty also creates opportunity around vaccines that even a couple of months ago we had no real optimism around.
You mentioned vaccines. I asked people to tweet me about the potential of Canada taking part in the Olympics. The good news is a lot of people love the Olympics, but there are also a lot of concerns too. So let me read you one of the tweets from someone named Margaret. when I said, should Canadians be involved in the Olympics this summer, she said not at all, too risky without a high percentage of athletes, coaches, officials, volunteers, and IOC members being vaccinated. I know you have said on the record that athletes shouldn't be ahead in the queue than frontline health workers, but once those workers are vaccinated, where do you see Canadian Olympic athletes in that list?
I'm glad you mentioned that, and it's certainly very important to me and to all the Canadian athletes. I'm sure you've seen many Canadian athletes have been outspoken about the importance of vaccinating those most vulnerable and frontline workers here in Canada first. And then we'll see. It means it's dependent on so many considerations, including the effectiveness of vaccines against the new variants and including their effectiveness against retransmission. And so we'll wait our place in line. But it's important to note that we're planning for bringing Team Canada to the Tokyo Games without vaccines, that the plans are in place that around a system of bubbles that would allow for it to be safe and secure. And we're guided by our Chief Medical Officer.
Will it be safe for those athletes if they go to Tokyo without vaccines?
We have a very high degree of confidence in the Tokyo organizers, in the IOC, in the medical experts, that countermeasures are being put in place to keep not just the participants in the games, but the people in Japan and in Tokyo more closely safe in the strong event and strong likelihood that the games will go ahead. Has the COC spoken to the federal government or any other level of government about where athletes would be in the queue for a vaccine? Well, we've spoken to the government and relayed the IOC's desire for us to have our team vaccinated prior to going to Tokyo, and they've recognized that we've got a need. Certainly, when athletes and all Canadians were to travel internationally under these circumstances, a vaccine would be preferable. But so you'd be below frontline health workers. Where do you think the athletes are going to be in that queue? It's so hard. It's so hard to speculate at this point, but for sure, those most vulnerable, the frontline workers, have to come first, and then we'll see. But it will depend on so much, including what's available and how quickly provinces have been able to vaccinate Canadians. There's an emerging issue that I see people talking about, which is fairness and equity when it comes to access to vaccines, and that it may not end up being fair, that certain athletes from certain countries may get priority and others might not. So I wonder about Canada's role there in terms of moral leadership, of going to a games where there might be that kind of built-in inequity when it comes to access to vaccines. Well, the fairness questions that we're confronted with at the very moment relate to the qualifying for the Olympic Games, and training, frankly, around the world, that there are certain countries that have been full-scale training and qualifying, and there are others that are not able to. And so we're focused on the here and now as it relates to how do we get Canadian athletes to be able to compete fairly under those circumstances. One last thing, is there a red line? Is there something that if we cross that line, Canada will not be going to Tokyo? There's certainly no red line that we've identified, but the health and safety of all participants is paramount. And we'll be guided by the Chief Medical Officer of the Canadian Olympic Committee and public health officials here in Canada in how we make those determinations. David Shoemaker, really nice talking to you. Thank you. Thank you, Ian. Coming up, Ontario's planning to expand rapid tests to schools. Could it be the solution to get kids back in the classroom? We get some insight from our doctor. Plus, an Alberta couple is building fantastical homes for the rich and famous. Welcome back. For almost a year now, millions of children around the world have had little or no in-person education. Experts are worried about the long-term effects of the pandemic and how it could make existing inequalities worse. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson looks at how some Canadian students are coping.
Monica Bellier takes her kids outside to offset all the time they're spending online for school. But how much learning is happening isn't clear.
There's a lot of setting up the tech, right? There's a lot of walking them through like, oh, well, try this or try that to get back online or get back into the worksheets. So because of that, I just don't see how it's possible that they're following the same curriculum.
According to a new UN report, pandemic school closures have resulted in a loss of, on average, 2/3 of a school year worldwide.
We are at risk of a generational catastrophe. And the global shift to remote learning has not served everyone equally in the world. Over 450 million students have been unable to access education.
Even wealthy countries like Canada haven't been spared.
This is a global crisis which is affecting children more disadvantaged because of their background, family background.
Sam Tekle is a professor and an education advocate for the Toronto neighborhood Jane and Finch, where he grew up. He says many children in the low-income area were reading and writing below their grade level even before the pandemic forced classes online.
We had in some ways to, at policy tables, be the voice to say, well, listen, there's so many families need devices right now. We need to figure out what we're going to do for high-speed internet. And then also we're thinking about families that have shift work, that immediately don't have access to immediate childcare.
Tekle would like to see the provincial government even the playing field for such communities in pandemic times or not. And UNESCO is urging governments, including in Canada, to make educational recovery a priority to help kids catch up so their learning loss doesn't impact the communities and economies that will one day depend on them. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
And the Ontario government hopes an increased use of rapid COVID tests will make it easier to get kids back inside classrooms. The Premier announcing the plan today, but there was no clear timeline.
To the parents out there, I hear you loud and clear. They're stressed.
Premier Ford said that along with deployment to schools, rapid tests will also be used in other high priority settings, including long-term care and retirement homes and essential workplaces. Well, joining us again, Dr. Susie Hoda, an infectious disease specialist with the University Health Network in Toronto. So, Dr. Hoda, clearly it's important to have kids in school, if at all possible, to do that safely. And secondly, rapid testing, at least in Ontario, seems to be the key to that. But when we hear that term rapid testing, what does it mean?
Well, I think that we're lumping it all together, but really there are two different types of rapid tests out there. There are those that are based on molecular tests, which actually perform pretty well and not that far off from what our gold standard testing is. And then there are these rapid antigen tests, which unfortunately are not as sensitive as we put it. So that means that you risk missing out on up to 30% of positive cases. The pros of these kinds of tests are they tend to be pretty quick in terms of giving you a result once you've collected the samples. And one of the major negative sides of it, though, are all the logistics that have to go behind the actual testing. So you need to have sort of an operation of people and a system in place to actually do the testing. And the throughput, unfortunately, because you have to wait for these tests to be done, when you're thinking about using this on a large scale, that can be a bit of a barrier.
So from your perspective as an infectious disease specialist, how do you feel about the link between some sort of testing and getting kids back in school in Ontario?
Well, there are two parts here, getting back into school and keeping the kids in school. So getting back to school, I actually think that the most important thing is controlling community transmission and making sure infection control in schools is optimized. When it comes to keeping them in school, testing is important. We absolutely need to make sure that regardless of what kind of testing is being used, there's access to rapid, accurate tests for people who are symptomatic while in school, and that's kids, students, or teachers, et cetera. And also for those who are exposed to COVID-19 cases. So we know exactly what we're dealing with and we can actually isolate people quickly. There are also talks about surveillance testing, and this could be useful in areas of high prevalence of COVID-19 when there's lots circulating around. It might be useful to kind of do sweeps across the school as long as it's feasible, acceptable to the kids, and all those logistics I talked about have been worked out.
You know, it's interesting. A lot of people I've seen across the country feel that rapid testing is kind of a simple answer to a lot of things. Sounds like it's more complex than that.
Oh, it absolutely is. And that's why we see different approaches across the country. People are still trying to figure out what the best use is for these different tests, and the fact that there are multiple different tests out there, not just one type of test. So, it's a very complicated issue and not something you can just quickly summarize, I guess, in terms of what's the right approach.
All right. Dr. Hood, always nice having you on the program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, homes straight out of a fairy tale.
Lots of people want a Rapunzel tower attached to like a cottage.
An Alberta couple brings dreams to life. And
So stenographers can write 225 words a minute.
ever wonder how courtroom reporters can transcribe conversations so quickly? An Edmonton woman reveals the trick. Stay with us. Welcome back. COVID-19 has forced some Canadian families to give up their dream vacations over the past year. But an Alberta company already specializing in a unique form of luxury fantasy escape hopes to bring a little family magic back this summer at a less luxurious price. Kyle Bax explains.
When NBA superstar Steph Curry wanted to buy a playhouse for his daughters, he turned to Alberta.
Check out your playhouse!
The Princess Pony-themed playhouse he had made is the creation of Tyson and Audie Levitt.
They're not little playhouses, they're pretty good size.
The couple has found success with the rich and famous, with buyers as far away as China.
We kind of thought we might be able to convince people to spend $5,000 or $10,000 on a playhouse, and it's turned into people are willing to spend a few $100,000 on a playhouse.
Each creation is built by hand here at a rural workshop in southern Alberta, with features only limited by a customer's imagination. Each its own theme: Neverland, a world of wizards, or inside a giant blueberry. Now the luxury playhouse builder is launching a new venture, opening a resort in the province, a little magical kingdom filled with playhouse-type cottages.
The resort to us is our way of bringing in families that are more like our own, that can afford to go stay at a resort but can't necessarily put a whole playhouse in their backyard.
The resort is the latest chapter in the business's Cinderella story. Tyson Levitt started with a landscaping company and only built his first playhouse out of boredom. Even as his own creations went international, the family kept their operations local. Now with their resort set to open in the spring, timing seems likely on their side. After a rough 2020 for many, who wouldn't want to escape reality, to live in a fairy tale, even just for a night?
Rapunzel's tower, or halfling house, or castles, right? We're going to have a real nice mix in the resort.
The Levitts hope their Alberta resorts will be the first of many across the continent. A dream built one cottage at a time, turning their own fantasy into reality. Kyle Bax, CBC News, near Lethbridge, Alberta.
Next on The National, a lesson in stenography.
Stenographers push down multiple keys at the same time to spell one word with each stroke.
How this old-fashioned craft got a modern-day spin. Next, in our moment. Isabel Lumsden is giving a bit of a popularity boost to writing shorthand. She's in school to be a stenographer, and the machine she types on has people captivated. She's been giving an inside look to how the machine works by posting videos, where else? On TikTok. Tonight, that inside look is our moment.
I'm learning how to write verbatim everything that is said in the court. Stenograph machine is different than a regular keyboard because when you're writing on the stenograph machine, you're writing whole words in one stroke. I decided to post about it on TikTok because I'd never seen it before and I thought people might be interested in it, and it turns out I was right. I decided I would make some videos and maybe kind of bring it into the forefront of people's minds, and then it kind of blew up from there. Stenographers push down multiple keys at the same time to spell one word with each stroke. They just think it's absolute bonkers. I guess I wanted to kind of modernize it for people. So I kind of wanted to show it to the world.
It is absolutely bonkers. I don't know if you've been in a courtroom, and if you haven't, you should be for lots of reasons. It's interesting to see the process, and you know, you have a right to be in there. In BC, I know they've switched over to using audio to create the transcripts. So it's been a while since I've been a reporter in a courtroom, so not sure if they still use that. But well, I want to give you some numbers. She's at 80 words per minute. She needs to hit 225 to pass her course. But here's one other number. One of her videos, 3.3 million views on TikTok. That is the National for January 29th. I hope you can join me on Sunday for Cross Country Checkup on CBC Radio 1. That begins at 4 p.m. Eastern, and then later that evening back here on the National. Good night.